America, we're tired of living like this. We're tired of suffering like this. We can build a nation of our own. So we've gone to the judge, and the judge is not some cracker sitting up in a courtroom. The judge is God himself. And we helped you get everything you got. Oh, by the way, you love the flag? The first person to die for your freedom was a black man named Crispus Attucks in Boston, Massachusetts. We've been involved in all your wars for your freedom. We ain't got it yet. We still singing, we shall overcome. Well, that song is ended, and the melody ain't even lingering on. We're tired of injustice. We want to separate. We want a nation of our own, and we want a good send-off, because everything you got, we helped you to get it. You got it on our backs. For 310 years of slavery, we picking the cotton, we're baling the cotton, you using the cotton, turning it into lint and cloth, and your brothers in the North were masters of the needle trades. You sent the cotton all the way to England. England became rich. The Rothschilds became rich. All of you became rich on us. Minister.
Greetings everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel once again, and in today's episode I'll be talking about how Black Americans are calling for segregation. And as you've seen in the previous videos, Black Americans are finally coming out to call for separation, that is from the majority white population. And being a minority group in the United States and having shared a dark history of chattel slavery, Black Americans are finally coming out to claim their space and calling for a segregated environment whereby Black individuals will finally manage to excel. Kindly watch the rest of this episode while I come with my commentaries at the end of it.
So this is just a quick message to my people, okay? You beautiful brown and so-called black people out there in the world all over. Did y'all know how special y'all are? Do y'all know how special you are to the Most High? Like, he said you are so special and that he loved you so much. He created you to be above all nations that are upon the face of the earth. If you don't believe me, open up your Bible and read it. Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 6 says, "Thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God, and the Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth." Above every other nation, every other people upon the face of the earth, you are above them. This is what the Most High declared in his word. God is not a man that he would lie. And this is what our people have to begin to understand. He said he loves you above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Why do you think they try so hard to keep us down, to keep us out, to keep us oppressed, to keep us separated, to keep us conflicting and fighting with one another, to keep us hating one another? Who done this? The so-called white man's done this and been doing this for hundreds and hundreds of years. In that precept specifically, it is declaring segregation. The Most High, when he created us, he always wanted us to be separate, especially from these Edomites, so-called white people. He always wanted us to be separated from them. Being intermingled and entertained with them, entangled with them, it's brought us nothing but bad. Think about it. Countless amount of times, it's brought us nothing but bad things. Go back. Think about our history. Since we came over here to America, and for the natives that are from this land, that are indigenous of America, here in America, this is your land. The moment that so-called white people came in contact with the natives, it's been nothing but bad. And this is what we have to understand, y'all. We have to separate from our enemy. We have to come back together with one another and begin to build each other up and begin to love each other, okay? And with that being said, you cannot do that with an enemy in between you and your people. When our people begin to wake up and actually grasp that concept, how powerful we would be as a nation of people right now, our nation, our people, And the majority of our people don't know who they are or where you come from, don't know your ancestors, your great, 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 great grandmother. You don't know. So you run to the so-called white man to get a DNA test just for them to give you a lie, to give you some sense of, oh my goodness, this is where I come from. That's a lie. We Israelites, we the children of Israel. You come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. That so-called white man, that's a fraud. That's not who our Savior is. That's not the real. His name's not Jesus. He was a Hebrew man. Okay? And with that being said, he was very dark skinned. All the things that they so-called don't like about us, they copy. Make it make sense. If you don't like these big lips or this big nose, let them tell it. Or that nappy hair, let them tell it. But then you turn around and you copy it? Like, make it make sense. It's time for my people to wake up and realize how special you truly are. Know who you are. Remember who you are. And know that remember the power and the greatness that is within you. You have to separate from your enemies. Your enemies have pulled you down. And make no mistake, your enemies is so-called whites. The Bible tells us that. We was sold to our enemies. We was brought on ships and sold to our enemies. And no man has bought us. Look at history. That's why they can shoot our people down in the street and go off not guilty. That's why they can have a knee on the neck for 9, 10. However many minutes the officer had his knee on George Floyd's neck until he took his life. And now they ready to acquit him and let him out. And go not guilty. The things that they do to us. Shoot our sisters down in the street, pregnant, and go off not guilty. How they cheat us. In order for you to get a house loan, your interest is going to be 10 times your white counterpart. In order for you to get a car loan, your interest is going to be 10 times your white counterpart. Y'all, we have to wake up and separate from our enemy. I'm all for segregation because segregation is biblical. And these so-called whites, they know that and they understand it. That's why they cleave so tight to us, y'all. They don't like us, but yet they want to be just like us. And they just can't help themselves but to be up in our business. But with that being said, keep y'all butts in the house. Do not go out there to that April 5th protest, okay? Tomorrow is the Sabbath. Observe the Sabbath. Stay at home. Chill. Don't cook. Don't buy. Don't sell. Honor the Most High. And He'll bless you. Shalom. You know, the Most High God says to separate from your enemies. To separate from your enemies. Not to be joined together with these people. Not to be in marriages with these people, not to be in friendships with these people, not to be in gatherings with these people, not to be with these people. The Most High says separate from your enemies. We got to understand that our salvation is the destruction of our enemy. Don't y'all understand that? There's coming a time where these heathens, the Most High is going to destroy these nations, these heathens. That's why He's telling the children of Israel to be separated from your enemy, to not be joined hand in hand with them, because they will not go unpunished. In order to accept salvation for you, you have to accept the fact that that's destruction of your enemy. And a lot of our people, they struggle. They trip up off of that because they're in love with these so-called whites. They can't let them go. They in love with white people. They married to white people. They best friends are white. Oh, I got this white gathering party. If y'all don't wake the hell up and read what the Bible says and understand who you are in the times that we're living in, all this segregation and everything that Trump passed and all it, y'all got to understand this all weighing out into prophecy. We're supposed to be separated from these people. Our people need to wake up. Wake up. Come up out the twilight zone. We're not supposed to be joined with these people. And I don't care if you get mad. I don't care if you get in your feelings or feel some kind of way about what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the truth. The Most High says, separate from your enemies, separate from these heathens, separate from these nations, be joined back with your own people. What's so hard about that? If you hate yourself, then I get why it's so hard. But it shouldn't be hard to join back with your own people, love your own people. And that's what that scripture talks about, where it says love thy neighbor. That's going into loving your own people. You know, our people, they'll go so extra. They'll go all out the way to do things for these so-called whites that they won't even do for their own kind, their own people. Like, wake the hell up.
I honestly feel like for black people to evolve, they would have to separate from everyone outside of themselves. This may sound extreme, but when you look at how we used to operate in the pre-colonial era, we just achieved so much more. Like, we centered ourselves, we loved our image, we had our own spiritual systems, like everything was more harmonious. And then when you look at how we're living now, we just squeeze ourselves to fit into the current system we live in. And in this current system we live in, there is a hierarchy, and on that hierarchy, we are at the bottom. And it's like being at the bottom of the hierarchy, you have to shrink yourself to play your assigned role, and that is like the main way that you'll be accepted. An example of this could be showing up in spaces and not being who you truly are. Like, perhaps you're in an environment where you have to code switch, or perhaps you have to restrict your expression so that you're not too loud, not too ghetto, all of that, so that you're seen as like one of the good ones. Or when it comes to like representation within the media, obviously the system would follow a white beauty standard. So as a black woman, most likely you would be represented by a biracial woman. And the black women that would get the representation in the media aren't always elevated to the highest space. It's like only maybe one or two will be selected. It wouldn't be an abundance of black women on top. And these things just lead to us as black people internalizing that our image is not good enough. And it spills out in other avenues as well, whether it's the educational system or within hospitals, whatever. Like, yeah, we're accepted within these spaces, but we're not taken serious. Like, we're disregarded. Like, we just don't have a whole avenue or space where we can just exist in peace and get the same equal treatment that everyone else gets. There's always issues. It's even just existing and having to accept that every other culture has some form of anti-blackness towards us. But like, when we're literally just doing nothing. The list literally goes on, but I guess my main point is that we really need to separate and form a strong identity within ourselves once again, so we can move different and actually strive to create and build in a different way, because clearly this system shit is not working for us, and it never will. And obviously, in terms of separation, I feel like not every black person will be called to do this. Like, this will be just for people who have a desire for the black community to elevate once again, especially people who have tapped into our past and see the possibilities of what we can create in the future. Everyone has a different journey in life and are called to do different things, but I feel like the people that do want this change, I feel like upon sitting with yourself, healing internally, like, we've been through a lot of trauma over centuries, but I feel like as this system we're living in is crumbling as we speak, once it crumbles, people would have to be there to build something new. And I feel like those who are being called to make changes or are fascinated with bringing a change will need to come together. So yeah.
Black people want to be left alone. They don't want revenge. They don't want to replace us, as some extremist groups have said. They just want to live life in peace, the way they want to live. They want family, they want love, and they want to live in a society where they know they belong here. They want society to also know that they belong here. They want to walk out their door and not worry that they're going to be treated unfairly, or they're going to get that look like they're not welcome, or that someone's going to try to touch their hair like a zoo animal. Yes, they want they want white people to fix white problems of prejudice and ignorance and all the ways that a wrongful sense of superiority is baked into our society. Yes, they want that to change. Yes, they want acknowledgement for harms done. They don't want us to just explain things away or justify or gloss over things without really listening. But more than anything, they want to be themselves, fully express who they are, love who they are, be with their family, and live in peace. That's it.
So, I've been kind of wanting to do a video about this for quite a few weeks. After it said that Donald Trump is bringing back segregation, and I've seen a lot of black people on TikTok and YouTube say, well, bring it back. You know, I thought about it, and I wanted to make a video, like I said, and I've been an integrationist. I was born here, grew up in the ghettos and the projects, and thought getting out in the world, seeing different people, learning different cultures, so on and so forth, I thought America would grow. But now I'm starting to think it might be a great idea. It might be a fabulous idea, as a matter of fact. I remember when I was in my 50s, I told someone that I hope I lived long enough to see Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill as planned. And, when Donald Trump stopped that and all of this going back to segregation thing, I started to think, and I'm thinking maybe, you know what? It's probably a good idea. I mean, we tried the integration thing. Doesn't work. America is too racist, too hateful, too caught in their ways, their outlooks, their personalities, their profiles, blah, 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 blah. But see, this time, white people have thrown everything at black people throughout the years, everything. So now this stuff has come up. We see where our power is. We don't need to march in the streets anymore. We did all we could. We're done. We're tired. And I happen to think segregation might be a really good idea. And still, pay attention to this. They've thrown everything at us throughout the years. We've lived through it. We learned from it. So now, let's say they do segregate us, right? Maybe if they ship us off to another island or buy us a country in Africa, I don't know what, just as long as all the white people together and all that hate in their heart is there, they're going to start to hate and eat each other up. Moving on. Black people, we know what to do now. We get our towns, we build our wealth, we build our schools, our churches, our businesses, so on and so forth. And then before they can come and murder us all, before they set fire to our towns and drop bombs on us, we're better prepared. Listen to me, all right? Love and peace.
So you're basically saying that Donald Trump is going to bring back segregation, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad. And I believe that we should separate but equal. I'm not mad. Our forefathers and foremothers walked us into a burning building. We literally gave up everything that we own. The dollar does not circulate in our community nearly as much as it used to. We had communities all over this country in the 1900s. Clearly, the folks, they bombed, they flooded out a lot of our communities. We had a lot of paper genocide going on. But if we were able to have overt racism, because it still exists, but if we saw it blatantly, clear as day, the way that we would flourish, because a lot of us are business owners, a lot of us are doctors, a lot of us are lawyers, we're spread out a little more because we don't have our own communities the way that we used to. We live amongst, different sectors of people. I'll put it like that. But if we had no choice but to get back together, and I'm not saying that everything should be but we could have spaces where all of us could go and it's equal and everybody could go. But if we literally had no choice but to see it with our own two eyes, that this still exists, we would fucking soar. I believe in it. I believe in it real hard. We would have to commune. We would have to get together. I believe we would soar. Now the others, now would they be able to leave us alone? Because when we were on our own, motherfuckers wouldn't leave us alone. Like I said, they bombed, they flooded, the jealousy was rampant because we were flourishing. So unpopular opinion, if this did happen, I don't think that we would, sink or swim, I don't think we would sink. I didn't know anything about this. I got to look more into it. But I still believe in, equality and all of that. Spread love is the Brooklyn way. What y'all think about this? Before I go, I want to say Target took $1 billion hit because we pulled our money back. Now let that sink in. This is not me saying that there should be a race war. I'm not advocating for any of that. But I'm just saying, if we were left to our own devices, I believe that we would be able to reclaim a lot of the land that was stolen from us. And we would actually do better as a people if we were left to our own devices. But once again, would people literally be able to just leave us the fuck alone? Because y'all see what's happening with a lot of black farmers. They're being terrorized. The white tea farmers are trying to run them off their acres. It's happening right now.
So Trump bringing back segregation, we don't give a fuck. We don't know. Trump has basically passed a law where now contractors can say this is the white only fountain, this is the black only fountain, colored fountain. This is the colored bathroom. This is the white only bathroom. Now I know they finna have a field day with this in the South immediately. I'm in the West, Midwest, so we might not see that too soon just yet, but I'm sure it's gonna come. But I just want to be the one to first. Let me talk to my black people real quick. Black people, we don't give a fuck still. And I want to talk to y'all real quick because see, when they decide to bring back whites only, colors only, all of that, I'm gonna tell y'all this. One thing we need to do is make sure we turn our shit up. We need to get our shit in order. We need to make sure that we are supporting black only businesses. We are making it a necessity to make sure when they do bring this shit back, you see who want to play this game and make sure you play that shit better than them. We're the reason why a lot of these motherfucking corporations are even functioning. So to think that they want us to react so bad, like we are trying to learn motherfucking where them fans at, and here y'all come trying to tell us what motherfucking water fountain we need to be drinking out of. Like Trump, please find something else to fucking do. If you think this finna get us in the street, I'm gonna have to tell my come in real quick. It's not going to work, okay? If anything, this is the best thing that has happened yet, because I would love to go to a color only bathroom, a color only water fountain, because I'll just be 100 with y'all. Some of y'all nasty as fuck. So to say that we are finna go back into segregation, like what y'all gonna do when we lit as fuck over here and y'all born as fuck over there? Y'all don't know what we doing. Y'all ain't doing shit. So to segregate anything is just the craziest shit ever, but I'm not surprised. We're not about to use this as a situation to make us feel like, oh, we're scared. Well, no. Protect yourself. Get your family in order. Black people, get y'all family in order. Start to really be more mindful of the money you're spending. Invest your money, because the only thing they got up on us right now is knowing how money works. Knowing how to invest that money to make that money make money for them. We need to spend our time focused on that. We're not getting in the streets marching. We're going to get in them books and understand credit, understand investments, understand stock, understand how to, we're going to do that. Because eventually what's happening is we got to get on the other side. See, they know how to build businesses and use government money to basically keep themselves afloat. We don't yet. So let's learn that. All that said, to all of the people who are not black and you are like trying to fight for this and you really want to see a change, more power to you. But I'm gonna tell y'all like this: we happy y'all care because we don't give a fuck. And if you a black person that's finding yourself starting to care, please don't. This is your reminder to sit this shit out, because at the end of the day, it don't matter what we do, it don't matter what we say. The only thing they want to do is get us in a position where they can off us and then make it seem like this is the reason why they did A, B, C, D. But we finna just go ahead and learn what the motherfucking fans at and continue to mind our business like we've been doing. Hello, bye.
Well, if you've watched to this end, thank you once again. And before you continue, kindly don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the share button, as this will go a long way in supporting my YouTube channel. Well, for starters, we need to understand the history behind segregation in the United States. And there's quite a huge difference between soft separation and segregation compared with the hard separatism, or what is also known as nationalism. And so I'll begin with the historical segregation. As going back to the United States, you need to understand that after the abolishment of the chattel slavery system in the United States, the descendants of the former enslaved individuals had one major task to do, and that is fight for their rights to become American citizens. And under the Jim Crow rules, we understand that the black individuals were still dehumanized and constantly viewed as lesser beings, with the aim of the Jim Crow rules being that these individuals were supposed to leave the United States and find a nation of their own. And even despite of these laws not becoming successful, we're seeing the 14th Amendment, whereby the black Americans finally got the right to become American citizens. And that is all the individuals or the descendants of the former enslaved individuals in the United States. And even after that, this was not the end of the impact of the systemic racism and discrimination that most black Americans, or most descendants of the former enslaved Africans, experienced in the United States. And this is how segregation came into play. And in this historical form of segregation, you get to understand that there was a move by the white majority to separate the black minority from accessing some basic services, or even interacting with the majority of the whites, mainly based on their color, on the color of their skins. And this is how the systemic racism actually managed to propagate itself in the United States. And this, in this form of historical segregation, we're getting to see that the black Americans were forced to actually separate from the majority of the population, which is the white population. And this was quite very unfortunate, as you get to understand that there was separate school for the blacks compared to the whites. There was separate social amenities and different things that prevented the interaction between these two group of American citizens. And in the recent timings, you're getting to see that the black Americans are again coming out to call for segregation. And this time, it's not the way that it was viewed in the past. And in this kind of segregation and separation that the black Americans are currently calling for, we are getting to see that they're asking out for black spaces whereby the black individual will manage to fully express themselves without feeling the microaggressions and the white gaze that is commonly experienced in integrated spaces, as we are getting to see that most black individuals are actually forced to contain themselves in order for them to fit in an environment that will be deemed safe for mostly the white individuals. And so, for asking for this soft separation, we're getting to see that the black Americans are asking for spaces whereby they will manage to express themselves without having to worry about the white gaze or how the other white individuals are thinking about them. And also by doing that, they are getting to get time to process and heal the generational trauma that they have experienced or that they've acquired through the black slavery history that all of them share. And hence, asking for segregation will act as a way for them to heal and process all the generational trauma that they've experienced with people that actually understand it, rather than how they are experiencing it in an integrated community with people who will actually feel like there was an explanation to the suffering that the black Americans experienced through the slavery period. And so, if you've watched the rest of this episode, you notice that black segregation is also involved with supporting and developing the black dollar. And one of the major moves here is black individuals are coming together to support fellow black businesses. And this include businesses like black banks and other black owned investment opportunities, whereby the black dollar is managed to be invested in black owned businesses that will directly benefit the black individuals, compared to the integrated community whereby most of these resources being invested in white businesses don't have a direct impact to the black neighborhoods of the black population. And in doing so, we're getting to see that the systemic racism and discrimination that was designed in the United States still gets to benefit and sideline the black Americans who have really fought hard to have this kind of freedom that they are currently having. And even despite of the fact that they are still having these freedoms, the journey is far from over, as you're getting to understand that the deep roots of systemic racism are still ensuring that every black individual should not excel, and there are measures and rules designed to make this happen. And so, when black Americans are calling for segregation, they are trying to get an opportunity to develop themselves. As you all understand that for all the 250 years of free slavery that their ancestors gave in building the American economy, they were actually never compensated. And hence, they are trying as hard as they can to catch up with their white counterparts who are wealthier compared to the average black individual. And also, when it comes to the institution, we're getting to see that black segregation movement is encouraging black Americans to form institutions that will accept black Americans to learn about their history and also get a chance to understand their black history away from what has always been taught under the United States curriculum, where we get to see that most of the black American history has always been suppressed. That is due to the uncomfortable nature of it and how the white population is quite uncomfortable with learning about the dark history that they did to the black American population. And so, by asking for segregation, black Americans are simply asking for a space for themselves to get a chance to heal, relate, bond, and also rewrite their history as a crucial way of healing from the traumatic experience that they've always had in a system designed to discriminate them and ensure that they always fail. And again, we need to understand that there are also a minority group of black individuals who are sticking on the hard separatism. And this involves whereby they are calling for blacks to actually come together and form a legal state of their own away from the white dominated country in the United States. And by doing so, they believe that they'll get a chance to build their own country with their own rules away from the constant racial discrimination and the systemic racism that most of them have endured in the United States. And lastly, for most Americans who are asking for the separation or segregation, are getting to see that psychologists or scientists have come up with a term to explain the experience that they are going through, and that is referred to as the racial battle trauma, where we get to see that most of these black individuals are fighting with the physiological and the psychological impact of experiencing racism for quite a long time of period. And so by asking for segregation, these individuals actually get a time to process this by sharing it with individuals or people who have had similar experiences, and hence bond and get a time to heal themselves. And so what I'll ask you is that, do you believe that black Americans should also go ahead with implementing this segregation as you've seen in the video, or is the time not right yet? Kindly don't forget to share your thoughts and ideas with me in the comment section. And thank you once again for watching to this end, and see you in the next episode.